Hi friends, I'm going to talk about spontaneity in the second language classroom. It's quite important for a teacher to be spontaneous all the time, to make students experience spontaneous process of learning. It's been difficult for us to really be very spontaneous when we have a structured lesson plan. Remember, we are expected to progress in a very systematic and scientific way to explain and describe and experience certain important curricular inputs. But remember, learning potential is not all about learning from a systematic progress of the classroom interaction. It is all about also creating new experiences beyond the classroom. That is why I always say teacher has to be highly creative individual. Teacher uses all his or her creative ideas, especially when he or she looks at the students and finds that students are in a learning mood. In fact, it is very important to feel the pulse of students' mood before the teacher starts teaching. It's quite important for the teacher to use learners' interests and the realm of learners' thoughts to make them experience new dimensions of learning. So this is why I say the dynamics of learning is all about how a learner pitches himself or herself in the entire process of learning by making the learner an important person to experience various new spheres of learning. It's been difficult for a teacher to make sure that every learner concentrates on this learning process and experiences completion or rather satisfaction of this entire learning process. Why do I say so? I say this because most of the time that we seem to be obsessed as teachers with the best learners, and we seem to really neglect or rather do not give much attention to those who don't really seem to be successful in learning. No, we'll have to make sure that every learner concentrates on this learning process, and we'll have to identify new strategies or solutions for those who don't really make up this particular process quite easily, or rather they fail to achieve the expected learning outcome. But remember, learning has to take place beyond the classroom. How do we make this happen? That is why most of these creative teachers make use of group activities or pair activities and initiate certain discussions or interactions among students. So students, when they go out and talk to others or even talk with their family members or interact with the general public, they seem to learn a lot. In other words, this very quest for learning begins in the classroom. It doesn't end in the classroom. It gets expanded and reflected in the day-to-day process. That is why reflective learning and creative learning are the most important steps that we have to really take. How do we really initiate this very concept of creative learning or reflective learning among our students? Is that really feasible in today's time-bound, task-bound classroom? This is a very tough process because when you have a series of tasks to be given to students and you expect students to get certain skill transfer and skill enhancement and skill accomplishment, at the end of the day, we're going to test only the skills of the learners, and we also see whether they complete the tasks. So we seem to be giving too much of importance to task achievement and task completion, but we don't really worry about what kind of creative thinking has gone in for this particular learner to achieve it. So our system of testing has to be all about understanding what the learner has learned all these days. I wish we can talk about it in the next video. Thank you. Learners continue to learn from other learners or other fellow learners. Teachers are supposed to understand how this learning takes place through creative consultations. If the teachers do not understand the dynamics of creative consultations or creative interactions or discussions, then learning really doesn't take place. That is why we say it shouldn't be a one-way process. Most of the time in our classrooms, it is all about teacher talking all the time, the student listening to the teacher, or rather even activity-based classrooms seem to be controlled and dominated by teacher perception and teacher initiation and teacher control. I won't say teacher control is inimical to learning, but I would say there should be creative exploration of the learning process by both the teachers and the learners. Thank you. Hope to see you in the next video with some more new inputs, and I wish we can discuss further about this at a later point of time. Please subscribe to this particular YouTube channel, and if you like it, press the bell button and ensure that your feedback reaches me on time so I can really improve upon my presentations. Hope to see you soon. Bye bye. See you.